For what purpose does the gentleman from Mississippi seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I move to suspend the rules and adopt House Concurrent Resolution 105.
The clerk will report the title of the concurrent resolution.
House Concurrent Resolution 105. Concurrent resolution authorizing the use of Emancipation Hall in the Capitol Visitor Center for an event to celebrate the birthday of King Kamehameha.
Pursuant to the rule, the gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Harper, and the gentlewoman from Hawaii, Ms. Hanabusa, each will control 20 minutes. The chair recognizes the gentleman from Mississippi.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself such time as I may consume.
The gentleman is recognized.
I rise in support of House Concurrent Resolution 105, authorizing the use of Emancipation Hall on June 24th to celebrate the birthday of King Kamehameha, a legendary figure in Hawaiian history and culture. On June 11th, the people of Hawaii will celebrate the 96th annual Kamehameha Day, commemorating the life of Kamehameha the Great, who between 1795 and 1810 unified the islands into the Kingdom of Hawaii. Known for being a fierce warrior who fought for unity and independence, King Kamehameha was highly regarded for ruling with fairness and compassion. His law, known as the Law of the Splintered Paddle, specifically protected civilians in wartime and is today a model for human rights throughout the world. A statue of King Kamehameha graces the Capitol Visitor Center as part of the National Statuary Hall collection. In adopting the resolution, we will authorize the use of this space for the celebration of his life and accomplishments. I thank the gentlewoman from Hawaii, Mrs. Hanabusa, for introducing this concurrent resolution, and I urge my colleagues to support it. I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentlelady from Hawaii is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, House Concurrent Resolution 105 is to ask for the use of the Emancipation Hall in the Visitor Center for the celebration on June 24, 2012. This will be the 43rd time that we have celebrated the birthday of King Kamehameha in the nation's capital. Speaker, Hawaii has a unique history. We are, of course, the 50th state, and we are the only state that comes with a kingdom as part of our history. June 11th is the recognized state holiday. King Kamehameha was born around 1758, and he unified the 8 Hawaiian islands by 1810. He is also known as King Kamehameha I. His birthday has been celebrated for about 140 years in my state, beginning in 1871 by his great-grandson, King Kamehameha V. The statue that you see in the Visitor Center today has also a fascinating history. It was commissioned by the then territory by Thomas Gould. Actually, we weren't quite a territory yet. It was still a kingdom. And he finished it in 1880. It was made in Italy. He was an American sculptor. The ship actually sank that was bringing the first Kamehameha statue to Hawaii. And in 1883, the second statue made its way to Hawaii. What stands in Emancipation Hall today is molded of the second statue. That is the official statue that stands in front of what we call Ali'iolani Hale, which is the home of the Hawaii Supreme Court. The first statue was discovered and stands in the Big Island, which is the birthplace of King Kamehameha. As you look at the statue, and I invite everyone to do that, you will see that it stands approximately 8.5 feet tall. He has a helmet and a feather cape, and they are made from very rare bird feathers. His left hand has a spear, and that was his statement that he was ready to defend his kingdom. But his right hand is open in a gesture, and that is to welcome people. And that is what we call the gesture of course, aloha. Lei draping is the customary celebration which will also happen on June 24th here. And what you see there is a tradition that has become almost uniquely Hawaii's. Lei is the way that we bond, and the lei draping is symbolic of the bonds that people have in Hawaii, and it is a very close and strong bond. The act of presenting a lei is something that many identify with Hawaii as they come to visit our beautiful islands. As we all know, the President is born in Hawaii. And on June 20th, 2010, he issued Proclamation 8534 in honor of the bicentennial of the uniting of the islands by King Kamehameha. This is what the President had to say in that proclamation. On this bicentennial King Kamehameha Day, we celebrate the history and heritage of the Aloha State, which has immeasurably enriched our national life and culture. The Hawaiian narrative is one of both profound triumph and sadly deep injustice. It is the story of Native Hawaiians oppressed by crippling diseases, aborted treaties, and the eventual conquest of their sovereign kingdom. These grim milestones remind us of an unjust time in our history, as well as the many pitfalls of our nation's long and difficult journey to perfect itself. Yet, through the peaks and valleys of our American story, Hawaii's steadfast sense of community and mutual support shows the progress that results when we are united in a spirit of limitless possibility. This particular celebration is also very special for the people of Hawaii, and I believe for members of this House as well. Senator Daniel K. Akaka will be retiring at the end of his term, and as many of you are aware, he served 14 years in this House and the last 22 in the United States Senate. He is the epitome of aloha. He is the epitome of everything that is good about Hawaii. In honor of him, I'd like to read a portion of what he said in the June 2009 Kamehameha lei draping ceremony here, because I think he gave a different perspective of King Kamehameha that many of us do not know. He said, "As a military leader and statesman, Kamehameha was a brilliant visionary who pursued opportunities for progress. He pioneered military strategies that included unique flanking tactics and the use of cannons on the bow of his canoes. Those revolutionary concepts enabled Kamehameha to succeed in battle and are principles recognized and taught to this day at West Point. Beyond his military accolades, Kamehameha understood that if his people were going to thrive, they must be unified. Through governance, Kamehameha brought Native Hawaiians together and established an environment where they could perpetuate their heritage and way of life. Under his leadership, the government strengthened its autonomy and self-sufficiency. These actions set the kingdom's framework for international commerce and diplomacy that brought peace and prosperity to his people." As we all know, Senator Akaka is the only Native Hawaiian who serves in the Congress of the United States. It is very important for us to know that this person who became King Kamehameha was very thoughtful even in the days that he was uniting the Hawaiian Islands. He is known in Hawaii for the law of the splintered paddle, also called Kanawai Mamalahoi. What he basically said was that we have a responsibility to protect civilians at the time of war, and that every human life was precious, and it was wrong for the powerful to mistreat the weak. The context of this story is also very moving. Someone didn't know who he was and actually hit him on the head with a paddle, and of course it splintered. And the idea, when they found out that they had hit him, they all thought that their lives would come to an end. But instead, he decreed the law of the splintered paddle. This is the visionary who united the Hawaiian Islands. By this resolution, we honor this great person and also all that makes Hawaii special and unique. Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentlelady reserves. The gentleman from Mississippi.
Mr. Speaker, I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. The gentlelady from Hawaii.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 5 minutes.
10. Okay.
Oh, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
The remainder of the 10 minutes to the gentleman from American Samoa.
The gentleman from American Samoa is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today in strong support of House Concurrent Resolution 105 to authorize the use of the Emancipation Hall in the Capitol Visitor Center for the lay draping ceremony on June 24th of this year to celebrate the birthday of the great warrior king, King Kamehameha. I want to thank my colleagues, Ms. Hanabusa and Ms. Hirono, for their leadership, and to all the members of the Hawaiian Congressional Delegation for their support in this important legislation. I also want to take this opportunity to commend my good friend, Senator Daniel Akaka, for his stewardship on this and many other issues befitting the people of Hawaii. Senator Akaka has been an integral part of the lay draping ceremony for the past 36 years, and it is befitting that his outstanding service and dedication to the people of Hawaii will be recognized in next month's ceremony. Mr. Speaker, for more than 40 years, the Hawaiian Congressional Delegation and the Hawaii State Society in Washington, D.C. has hosted lay draping ceremony on and about the second week of June to coincide with the celebration of King Kamehameha Day in the state of Hawaii. Because of the King Kamehameha statue has been moved to the Emancipation Hall of the U.S. Capitol Visitor Center, it now requires the enactment of a congressional resolution to authorize this annual celebration, hence House Concurrent Resolution 105 that is being considered before the House for today. Mr. Speaker, for some 2,000 years, the Hawaiian Islands existed under some tremendous rivalries among the warring chiefs among the native Hawaiians. After almost 10 years of fighting, King Kamehameha brought all of the Hawaiian Islands under one rule, thus fulfilling an ancient prophecy that one day a high chief will be born and will defeat the chiefs of the other islands and thereby bring all the islands, the 8 Hawaiian islands, under one rule. Mr. Speaker, King Kamehameha, while a mountain of a man, he was only about 6'8", 6 feet and 8 inches tall, weighed about 300 pounds, and a great warrior of many feats. Perhaps he is better known for his foresight and for the peace and stability he brought to the Hawaiian Islands. He was shrewd in building prosperity for his people by encouraging agricultural development and promoting commercial trade with the European countries and even with the United States. While he was open to new ideas, he was caught and circumspect the old ways. It was said that before the unification of the Hawaiian Islands in 1782, King Kamehameha, during a raid, came across 2 unarmed fishermen, and as he attempted to slay the fishermen for no reason, his foot was caught between the 2 rocks. By defending themselves, the 2 fishermen immediately hit King Kamehameha on the head with a large paddle and broke the paddle and left him for dead. King Kamehameha survived, and for some 12 years later, the fishermen were caught and brought before the king. Rather than seeking revenge on the fishermen, King Kamehameha set them free with gifts. From on then, King Kamehameha declared what is now known today in Hawaiian history as the law of the splintered paddle, or mamalahoi, as known among the Hawaiian people. The law of the splintered paddle, which has become the basis of many modern human rights laws regarding the treatment of unarmed men, women, and children, and they are not to be harmed when traveling along the roadside. In his time, King Kamehameha strived to maintain the sovereignty of his people. He created a unified legal system and did not allow non-Hawaiians to own their lands. These efforts came to the height of colonialism in the Pacific region, when one after another Pacific island succumbed to the colonial powers. Mr. Speaker, I submit to you and to my colleagues and to the American people that the native Hawaiian King Kamehameha was one of the greatest warrior chiefs who have ever lived among the Polynesian people. For anyone who has ever visited the Hawaiian Islands, now proudly as the 50th state of our nation, but just think that during the late 1700s, with a fleet of some 900 war canoes and with some 20,000 warriors, embarked upon one of the greatest feats in military history to unite the Hawaiian Islands under Kamehameha's rule, which took almost 10 years to achieve. And for some 100 years, King Kamehameha and his descendants ruled the Hawaiian Islands as an independent and sovereign nation. King Kamehameha indeed was a true warrior of the first order. He was a master of the ancient Hawaiian martial arts known to the Hawaiians as lua. We call it among Samoans as limalama. He fulfilled another prophecy whereby anyone who would move what was known as the naha stone, which weighed only 4,500 pounds, Kamehameha moved the stone, again with another prophecy that whoever was able to move the naha stone would rule the Hawaiian Islands. Kamehameha fulfilled that prophecy. Of interest also, Mr. Speaker, King Kamehameha's military tactics are still being studied at our West Point Military Academy in New York. In sports, he's one of a master surfer. In those days, his surfboards weighed over 100 pounds. Can you imagine a 6'8" 8-man surfing with a board that is about 100 pounds in weight? Another famous ancient Hawaiian sport was to jump off the high cliffs, just to jump in the ocean. But one of the sports that King Kamehameha was very famous for, specialized in, was the idea that 3 spears would be thrown at you. And what he would do was that he would let 2 spears pass you, then he would carry 2 spears, catch the other 2 spears, and parry the remaining 2 spears. Try that, Mr. Speaker, and see if you might be able to do this. The bottom line, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the gentlelady from Hawaii, Ms. Hanabusa, for her sponsorship of this legislation. Let's pass House Concurrent Resolution 105, and I thank my friend from Mississippi for his assistance in managing this bill. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman from Mississippi is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I did not have any additional speakers, and I'm prepared to close. I urge my colleagues to support this legislation. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back. The gentlelady from Hawaii is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I have no further speakers. However, I would like to, first of all, thank the gentleman from Mississippi for managing this legislation and bringing it to the fore, Speaker Boehner, Chairman Lundgren, Ranking Member Brady for allowing it to come forward as well, and the architects of the Capitol Police, and all others who will assist in this matter, and of course the people of Hawaii. Mr. Speaker, I hope that we'll pass this measure, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentlelady yields back the balance of her time. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and agree to House Concurrent Resolution 105? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the 2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended. The concurrent resolution is agreed to.
Mr. Speaker, we would request a recorded vote on this measure, please.
Gentlewoman request the yeas and nays?
Yes.
The yeas and nays are requested. All those in favor of taking this vote by the yeas and nays will rise and remain standing until counted. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, further proceedings on this question will be postponed.
The unfinished business is the vote on the motion of the gentleman from Mississippi, Mr. Harper, to suspend the rules and agree to House Concurrent Resolution 105, on which the yeas and nays were ordered. The clerk will report the title of the concurrent resolution.
House Concurrent Resolution 105, concurrent resolution authorizing the use of Emancipation Hall in the Capitol Visitor Center for an event to celebrate the birthday of King Kamehameha.
The question is, will the House suspend the rules and agree to the concurrent resolution? Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 15-minute vote. The concurrent resolution is agreed to, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.